Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about sigils, sigils and the tarot. How we can work with sigils when we are creating deck spreads, for example. And then I also wanted to talk a bit about sigil creation. This was a couple of years ago, I made a sigil deck. So I designed these sigils by hand actually, and then I'll show you some of the sketches. Originally I designed them by hand, and I then made them into lino cuts, and I was printing them initially, but then I actually transferred the designs onto Procreate, and I uploaded them to make playing cards and printed out a few copies of the deck. So it's just the major arcana, because I'll explain why, but it's around blessings rather than so it's not intended to be used as a traditional tarot deck necessarily. You can use it as a major arcana tarot deck, but it's more around blessings that are embedded in the sigil designs. So these are the sigils, and they're supposed to be used as blessing cards. You can draw a card of the day and sort of have it up in your house somewhere, and they have the blessing on the back. I've printed the blessings on the back. So just to read a little bit from the guidebook I did. I am hoping to make a full deck out of this, but at the moment, like I say, it's just the majors. So basically, this pack of major arcana cards contains designs for each of the 22 major arcana, plus one additional lover's card. And I designed them using a typical method of sigil creation. So sigil creation, you can basically design a sigil using the letters of the entity or aspect that you're focusing on. And you focus on that. You use the consonants. You take out any repeating consonants and any vowels, and that creates the base design for the sigil. So I used animals or creature archetypes to represent the particular major arcana archetypes. And then the designs have also been influenced by alchemical symbols, planets and elements, as well as colours with crystal correspondences. I'll show you a little bit about that. So sigils are traditionally intended to grant control over something. So in this deck, the sigils are intended to grant control over the energies associated with the animal archetypes, and also over the other aspects of the card, so the planets and elements and so on. So when I say control over, it's sort of that you are working with that energy for the day after you've drawn the card. It's like a blessing, basically. So for example, the tower, which is represented in this deck by a rook, grants control over the energies of change, as in the tower card, as well as over the energies represented by a rook, which, they're messengers and there are various aspects. It's all explained in the little guidebook. So the sigils can be used as spells, as points of meditation, as images or talismans that invoke your spirit animal or your tarot birth card. They can be used for daily protection or intention, or for divination. So I've listed the traditional meanings in this little book, as well as the correspondences. I did that in 2023. So this is a better version of the little white book which I've been working on. So this deck isn't available, but I just thought it might be interesting to show you this, because then I'm going to talk about using sigils as the basis for creating your own tarot spreads. So this is the star, which is represented by blue crane. This is the Empress, which is represented by hare. And then, yeah, the blessing is in line with the card as in the major arcana. So the sigil provides a blessing for nurturing and motherhood, fertility and abundance. So yeah, I can use that as a point of meditation for the day. This is the Hierophant, which is a hoopoe, and it provides a blessing for community rituals and traditions such as holidays, ceremonies and feasts. It can act as a protection and support for someone to challenge their belief system and liberate themselves from doctrine. So you can see this is based on the hoopoe. The design is linked to the hoopoe tail feathers and head feathers. They have beautiful. This is the moon, which is the fox. So this energy assists with shadow work, offering a way through the labyrinth when you're confused by illusion, and assisting with lucid dreaming or understanding the messages of dreams. It also grants invisibility. You can use fox energy as camouflage and protection. So I just want to go into the little booklet and show you how that was constructed. There we go, the moon. So the traditional tarot meaning, deception, dreams, confusion, illusion. And then the explanation of the sigil design. The moon is a card of secrets and illusion, offering a secret path into the labyrinth of the snow-covered forest in the night. It's easy to get lost when you're under the influence of the moon. Perhaps you'll even feel the lunar pull into temporary madness or loss of control and find yourself howling. The fox has a message for us. We are all wild. The fox runs through our dreams in the night and can't be tamed. Fox is master of illusion and camouflage, slipping into the undergrowth among tangled roots and leaves that reflect their coppery fur, or turning their coats snow white to hide in plain sight in the winter. Fox represents playfulness, mischievousness, humour and cunning. The watery moon is associated with psychic, empathetic and compassionate Pisces, and Neptune, which governs dreams and psychic powers. Neptune and Pisces also oversee illusion, and like the fox, symbolise the spirit of magic, which is sometimes dark and scary. The moon, the fox, Neptune and Pisces can bring you clarity and understanding if you allow them to take you into the darkness. The sigil colour represents the pearl, so this sort of pearlish pink, which symbolises wisdom gained through experience, a journey or dive into the depths to retrieve perfection. That's hard to say. This sigil energy assists with shadow work, offering a way through the labyrinth when you're confused by illusion and assisting with lucid dreaming or understanding the messages of dreams. It also grants invisibility. You can use fox energy as camouflage and protection, and that last little bit is the blessing that appears on the back. So the correspondence is Pisces, Neptune, Pearl and water. So the colour is pearl. There you've got Neptune and there's the water element there. Okay, so that is how I constructed the sigil. I'm going to just draw a sigil for today, but obviously you can also choose a sigil blessing for the day. It doesn't have to be divined, because you might want a particular energy to work with you for a particular purpose, you know. Oh, devil. There's the devil. That's the Minotaur. It's one of the only mythical beasts that I use. This sigil energy can be focused to assist with overcoming your fears and understanding your deepest desires, hidden wishes or needs, your sexuality, and releasing yourself from the bondage of expectations. Well, don't see why not. Oh, and the High Priestess, that's one of my favourites. It's the spider. Provides a blessing for intuition, knowledge from within, and assists with understanding a secret or mystery, particularly in the form of a pattern. Okay, so I'm actually going to use the High Priestess today. Okay, so that's how I've been creating sigils, but I thought what might be quite nice is to do a tarot card spread based on a sigil design. So you can actually do these quite simply at home. You just need, you can draw a circle. I'm using a card from Jackie Lovesy's shop. We do tarot cards in the UK, or oracle cards. What's it called? The Secrets of Wandwood. Anyway, so you can draw a sigil, and then you can just use a word or a name or anything at all, really. Again, an animal as the basis to create a design which can then lead to a tarot spread. So, for example, you could use a name. I'm actually just looking over here, so we've got chamomile tea. So I'm going to do it based on chamomile, but you know, I don't want to do my personal name here on camera because, you know, a sigil is something very personal. So you could use your own personal name to create the basis for a spread, and then you designate points on the spread as with particular meanings. So you designate meanings to particular points. So let's see what chamomile leads to. So the C. So remember, we're just focusing on the consonants. So there is 0.1, 0.2, because that's how I drew the C. H. So that was 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, and then we've got M. So that would be and then another M, and then an L, but there's already points there. So that would be 0.1, because that's where we started. That would be 0.2, because that was the C. And then we had 0.3, 0.4 for the first H, 0.5, 0.6, and then 0.7. And then you can designate these points with particular meanings. So because this was the starting point, I would say initiating action or something. I'm imagining that this is somebody's name, you know, that the reading is intended to understand where that person is at this particular time. Initiating action, and then this would be resulting action. Let's say 0.3 would be like the karmic influences or the universal, like the surrounding influences. Number 4 would be the person's response. So let's say my response, if my name was chamomile. So this is the karmic, my response, not even my response, my behavior. So this is kind of above and this is below. And then we've got 5 so the left hand side and the right hand side, something to change, or something to focus on. 6 could be a complicating factor. And then 7 as the outcome. Okay, so that's how you could construct a spread based on your own set of letters, your own personal name if you wanted to. I've actually done one for my own personal name and it's a really nice spread. It's actually just got 4 points and I use those 4 points as karmic influences my behaviour, and then the outcome, and what's the other point? Yeah, the root of the problem, and then the outcome of the problem, or the outcome of the actions. So yeah, it's a nice way to create a personal spread that's something that something's based on you personally. You could also do it based on a particular question. So you could use, say, the letters for health, or you could use the letters for work. You know, so you can come up with whatever set of letters, consonants, draw the sigil, and then dedicate the points to particular aspects of that problem. And in that way you can kind of construct your own tarot spreads based on a very specific question, or based on a very specific person as well. And then you've also got your own sigil. So it's quite a nice way to make readings more personal. And I'll just show you with a quick reading around this, how you might read that, around the name chamomile. So let's imagine there is this fictional person, Chamomile, and she came to you for a reading. You've constructed a sigil. So the initiating action would be 2 of Wands. The resulting action, 4 of Discs. Oh, you can't see that. Initiating action, 2 of Wands. Resulting action, 4 of Discs. Karmic influences, 1 of Discs. The person's response or behaviour, the 7 of Cups. Something to change or focus on, so perhaps an approaching influence, Knight of Chalices. And then the complicating factor, King of Pentacles. Interesting. And finally the outcome, and the nice 9 of Wands. So then, yeah, obviously then you would read that in discussion with yourself or another person around the question that was being asked. So I don't know whether to do the reading because the person's fictional, so it makes it a bit tricky. But let's see how that would be read. So, for example, the initiating action, the 4 of, I said 2 before, the 4 of Wands, would be stability and taking charge of something. So this would be taking charge of a project, for example, or stability in a project. So the initiating action could be seen as like a stable project, or taking charge of a particular project. So perhaps the person reading took charge of some project or action. The resulting action from that is the Four of Discs, which would be stability in material resources, success, financial success, taking charge of particular resources and materials. Interesting. And then the karmic influences, potential and talent for success, material resource, money, and so on. The response of the reader, Seven of Cups, action and triumph in emotions, in relationships. Something to change or focus on, the Knight of Chalices. So focusing, setting a course for, focusing on emotions and relationships. So something to focus on would be, or thinking about relationships or emotions. The complicating factor, the King of Pentacles, controlling. So something controlling the materials, the success, the coins. So perhaps an external factor. Somebody who's controlling the materials and resources needed for successful completion of a project. And the outcome, action and triumph in the project, because it's the wands again. So that kind of makes sense for a fictional person. And how they all relate to each other. So yeah, obviously you do this for yourself, then you dedicate your own points, you dedicate your own meanings for the different points in the reading, and then the shape of the spread becomes much more personal to you or to your question, and I think it's just a really nice way to sort of get away from the tried and true spreads that we usually work with, our fallback spreads, and to come up with new ways to read the cards, basically. So I hope that was interesting. All about using sigils in tarot work, and yeah, drop some comments in the chat if you found it interesting, if you have ways to create your own tarot spreads, if you use sigils in your work. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.